All right, how's everybody doing today? Hotep, hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. Hope everybody's doing well today. I know some people are getting hit with a winter snowstorm in different cities across the country. You know, we're being hit here in Detroit right now. But I saw this story, I saw this video first on Instagram of Draymond Green of Golden State Warriors. And it was a press conference after a game, last day of Black History Month, February 28th, 2023. And they had just beaten the Portland Trailblazers. And Draymond Green, who's a star for the Golden State Warriors, made some idiotic comments about Black History Month, African American History Month. Now, as a historian, I took offense to a lot of these comments, and I can tell he doesn't know what he's talking about. So we're going to go through and break this down, and I'm going to deal with some facts and evidence and deal with some history. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who is the founder of Negro History Week, which became Black History Month. Dr. Carter G. Woodson created Negro History Week in 1926. And what Draymond Green said shows a total lack of understanding of history, okay? And his comments were very disrespectful to Dr. Carter G. Woodson, and his comments show a lack of understanding of Black History Month and why it was created. So I want to, so I saw this, let's give credit to DeAndre Whitfield, who we first saw as Robert on The Cosby Show, because I saw this on his Instagram page, and Dondre is his Instagram page. And I actually posted on there and dealt with some facts and evidence, and a lot of people agreed with these idiotic comments from Draymond Green. So I'm going to pull up this video because I want you to hear what he said, and I'm going to go through and dissect this here. Okay, so let's pull out. I actually downloaded the video. Let's go to let's see. Let's go to the video here. Just a second. Let me pull this up. All right. Everybody share this broadcast on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in also. So he was wearing a Black History Month shirt. And if we let this, we wait on that. Let's go to
Black History Month. This is actually the first time you see me.
Let's go to this from yahoonews.com, Yahoo Sports. Warriors star Draymond Green says, get rid of Black History Month. Teach my history from January 1st to December 31st. Well, number one, a lot of our people do teach it from January 1st to December 31st. Okay. And he made comments like, why we have the shortest month of the year. He said, at some point, can we get rid of Black History Month? Why do we get the shortest month to celebrate our history? Okay, which is a total lack of understanding of the creation of this monthly cultural celebration. Draymond Green was responding to a question about George Clinton, who's a funk musician. George Clinton is a funk legend. George Clinton is not just a funk musician. He is a legend. George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars, One Nation Under Groove. George Clinton is a legend. George Clinton's music is often mentioned in conversations about Afrofuturism, an art genre that centers Black history and culture via science fiction, often with a consideration of slavery, okay, or it deals with the African diaspora, infuses it just fuses like African history, African culture with science fiction. The two, Draymond Green and George Clinton, took a photo together before the game at the Chase Center in San Francisco. So Draymond Green said, I don't listen to George Clinton every day, but what I do want to go back to is Black History Month. noting that he only wore the NBA's celebration-themed shirts dealing with Black History Month because he could not find anything else to wear. Draymond Green made it clear that his issue is not the celebration of Black history. Okay, his issue is not the celebration of Black history. He said, we've got governors who want to take our history out of schools, and I'm not going to be the fool to say, yeah, we can celebrate it 28 days, etc. So I want you to hear what he actually had to say. We've got the clip here. Let me bring this up. All right, let's go to this here.
Black History Month. This is actually the first time you've seen me in a Black History Month shirt, all Black History Month. And it's very intentional. And I really just threw this shirt on because I didn't have another shirt to throw on. But Black History Month, at some point, can we get rid of it? Like, at some point? Why we got to keep getting the shortest month to celebrate our history? You got governors want to take our history out of schools. And I'm not going to be the fool to go say, yeah, we get celebrated for 28 days. So at some point, I'd like to get rid of it. It's, you know, we're making all these changes in the world. Can't talk about these people, can't talk about those people, can't say this, can't say that. At some point, it's time to get rid of Black History Month. I get rid of Black history, like they're trying to do. But Black History Month? No, teach my history from January 1st to December 31st, and then do it again, and then again, and then again, and then again. That's what I like to see.
Okay, so clearly he's confused. Clearly Draymond Green is confused. I don't know Draymond Green personally. I think he meant well, but this is what happens. This is what happens when you don't use Google. Okay, this is what happens when you make these off-the-cuff comments and you don't research the subject matter beforehand. So let's deal with Dr. Carter G. Woodson and why it's created, which started out as Negro History Week, started out the second week in February 1926, okay? And I do these presentations during African American History Month. We deal with this history at the African History Network 365 days a year, 366 in the leap year. We know Dr. Carter G. Woodson's most popular book was The Miseducation of the Negro, which came out in 1933. Dr. Carter G. Woodson founded Negro History Week in 26. He explained the reason behind the celebration in a pamphlet widely distributed months before the first celebration was to take place during the second week in February 1926 in commemoration of Frederick Douglass's and Abraham Lincoln's birthdays. Okay. Dr. Woodson exclaimed that Blacks knew practically nothing about their history. Blacks knew practically nothing about their history. He ultimately believed that African Americans could benefit immensely from knowledge of their past and accomplishments of their ancestors. He added that race prejudice was the byproduct of whites' beliefs that Black people had not contributed anything of worth to world civilization. Now, the reason why Black History Month is in February has nothing to do with it being the shortest month of the year, has nothing to do with it being the shortest month of the year, the coldest month of the year, or any of these stupid ass reasons that uninformed people, okay? The reason why Black History is in February is it contains the dates of Abraham and Frederick Douglass. And African Americans were already having celebrations in the African American community shortly after Frederick Douglass' death, Okay, Douglas dies in 1895. And then we were celebrating, we were also having celebrations for Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Okay, so this week of February, so Lincoln's birthday is February 12th, and Frederick Douglass assumed the birthday is February 14th, which for most African Americans, they know that as Valentine's Day. Okay. Frederick Douglass did not know his birthday. Okay. He didn't know the exact year he was born. And so his assumed birthday is February 14th. His assumed birthday is February 14th. So this is why it's in the month of February. So there were already celebrations going on in the African American community during the month of February. So Dr. Woodson, in his wisdom, Dr. Woodson put this new monthly cultural celebration into the month of February when there were already celebrations going on in the African American community. We were celebrating Frederick Douglass' birthday going back to basically like the year after he died. He dies in 1895. All right, now, Dr. Woodson argued that if the historical record, and here's a picture of Dr. Carter G. Woodson, and most pictures you see of him, he is not smiling. Most pictures you see of Dr. Carter G. Woodson, he is not smiling. I think that has something to do with the fact that he was trying to teach a people their history who did not want to learn their history. Okay, I think that has something to do with it. This brother sacrificed his life and his livelihood to educate African Americans on their accomplishments and their achievements and what they contributed to and what they contributed to the world and world civilization, not just here in America, but throughout the diaspora. Okay, so if we look at this here, Dr. Woodson argued that if the historical record was set straight, and that if the history of Black people were studied along with the achievements of others in schools, not only would African American youth develop a sense of pride and self-worth, not only would African American youth develop a sense of pride and net worth, but Dr. Woodson concluded truth despite the dividing prejudice of nationality and teach universal love without distinction of race, merit, or rank. With sublime enthusiasm and heavenly vision of the great teacher, let us help men rise above the race hate of their age unto the altruism of a rejuvenated universe. Okay, Dr. Woodson. Now, when we look at the creation of Negro History Week, and there's been an annual theme for Black History Month or African American History Month. There's been an annual theme since 1928. The 2023 annual theme was Black Resistance. We'll come to that in just a minute. Black Resistance. How many people knew that there was an annual theme for Black History Month? There's a national annual theme coming from ASALA, Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And this is the organization that Dr. Carter G. Woodson co-founded September 9th, 1915 in Chicago. Now, Negro History Week was the first major achievement in popularizing Black history and was unique in that it focused on Black youth. It focused on African American youth. Dr. Woodson, who was an educator, by the way, and Dr. Woodson had a PhD in American history from Harvard University, and he also taught in high schools, and he taught at the college level as well. At one college he taught at was Howard University. Dr. Woodson realized that the miseducation of Black people began in their homes, communities, and elementary schools. Dr. Woodson's vision of Negro History Week was optimistic, strategic, and long-term. Optimistic, strategic, and long-term. He wanted this modest week-long celebration to serve as a stepping stone toward the gradual introduction of Black history into the curricula of all levels of the U.S. educational system. Now, Dr. Woodson felt that the history of African Americans needed to be taught year round. Okay. And he started a publishing company in 1921 called Associated Publishers, Inc., to publish textbooks that we could use in our schools, and to also publish his books, but and to publish history books, things of this nature. He felt that it didn't make sense to teach one week out of the year. The way that we set Black History Month is totally backwards. This was never designed to be the only time of the year that we study our history. This was never ever designed to be the only time of the year that we study our history. This was a cultural celebration of our history. And the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History was created to scientifically research, document, and preserve the history, accomplishments, and achievements of African Americans. Now, when we look at Negro History Week, Dr. Woodson hoped that Negro History Week would evolve into Negro History Year, Negro History Year, as he affirmed from time to time. Dr. Woodson consistently instructed those observing the week that they needed to diligently prepare for the celebration months in advance, and that after mid-February, they needed to continue acknowledging the role of African descendants in world history. After mid-February, because it started out the second week in February, they needed to continue acknowledging the role of African descendants in world history. He never meant for this to be, once again, the only time of the year we study our history. We have it backwards. We'll study it for 28 days in February, and some of us won't study it the rest of the year. That was not the intent. We have to, one of my teachers, Professor Kabahaya Watha Kamene, says to understand the existence of something, you must first understand the pre-existence of existence. We have to go study the history and origins of Black History Month and study Dr. Carter G. Woodson, because these comments about Black History Month are disrespectful to the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, which is the organization that carries on Black History Month and creates the national annual theme, and is disrespectful to Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who's known as the father of Black history and the father of Black History Month, and he's instrumental in the creation of the Black Studies programs. He wasn't the only one who's instrumental in creation of Black Studies programs, but he lays the foundation for African American history and Black studies to be incorporated into our curricula. Let's go back to the slide. So Dr. Woodson consistently instructed those observing Negro History Week that they needed to diligently prepare for the celebration months in advance, and that after mid-February, they needed to continue acknowledging the role of African descendants in world history, not just here in the United States. Dr. Woodson said, quote, Negro History Week should be a demonstration of what has been done in the study of the Negro during the year, and at the same time as a demonstration of greater things to come. Dr. Woodson instructed school teachers. He said a subject which receives attention 1 week out of the 36 will not mean much to anyone. So he said that for that weekly celebration, which is now a monthly cultural celebration, school children should be demonstrating what they have been learning all year about the history and accomplishments and achievements of African people. Not this is the only time we study it. And then outside of the school system, this has to be taught in the homes 365 days out of the year. Dr. Woodson said that African Americans know about their history. And for many of us, it's still true today. Blacks, he said, he exclaimed that Blacks knew practically nothing about their history. Okay, so now read Dr. Pero Gaglo Dagbovi's book on Dr. Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson in Washington, The Father of Black History. Excellent book on Dr. Woodson. That's where these excerpts come from. Now, Dr. Carter G. Woodson was born December 19th, 1875. He died April 3rd, 1950. He never married, never had children. He was born 10 years after slavery ended. Okay, he was born to former slaves also, and he creates he gets a undergraduate degree from Berea College in Kentucky. He got two bachelor's degrees, one from Berea, one from Chicago, University of Chicago, then a master's degree from University of Chicago, 1908, and then gets a PhD from Harvard University, 1912. PhD in American history from Harvard University. Okay, and he creates the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History because he attends a 3-week celebration commemorating the 50th anniversary of the chattel slavery ending and the 13th Amendment and African Americans being free. Okay, end of the Civil War, all that history that we teach here at the African History Network. Okay, so 1915 was that 50th year anniversary of 1865. And he attended a 3-week symposium that dealt with, they had all types of exhibits and all types of presentations and things like this taking place that documented that 50 years after chattel slavery ended and what African Americans had accomplished. And it's at this conference that he gets the idea to create an organization to scientifically research and preserve and document the history accomplishments and achievements of African Americans, but also to teach it. Okay, not just research it and keep it for themselves, but to actually teach this history to our people and to our children. So he co-founds the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, September 9th, 1915. All right. He creates the journal Negro Life and History, which was an African-American journal that published scholarly papers from African-American historians and scholars, things like this in 1916. 1919 to 1922, he's a professor at Howard University and dean of the School of Liberal Arts at the West Virginia Collegiate Institute also. Okay, so now he was a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. In 1920, Dr. Carter G. Woodson urged African American civic organizations to promote our accomplishments and achievements. In 1924, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated started Negro History and Literature Week, which then became known as Negro Achievement Week. In 1925, Dr. Carter G. Woodson sends out a press release announcing Negro History Week would be the second week in February 1926. All right. And Dr. Woodson believed that history was made by people, not primarily great men. It was made by people, not primarily great men. So one of the differences in the way that Dr. Woodson presented this history is he focused on a lot of the unsung heroes when it comes to African American history, and he focused on the movements that great men and women came out of, as opposed to just focusing on the great men and women. Okay, so he may focus on the abolitionist movement or whatever movement it is, the labor movement or things like this, Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, etc. But the all those unsung heroes. Okay, so and some of the scientific methods that he implemented revolutionized how we study history and how we document history. Let's go back to let me pull back up the slide here. All right, now Dr. Woodson believed that history was made by people, not primarily great men. Now the 1920s was the decade of what's called the New Negro, and this is after World War I ends in 1918, and then we know 1918, 1920. You know, you had the Spanish flu pandemic, the Great Pandemic. But you have the New Negro in the 1920s, the New Negro, and these were called race men. Okay, the New Negro they were called race men. You know, you have about 380,000 African American men who served in World War I. And when these brothers come back home, they have a new sense of pride and they want all of their rights now. They said we were good enough to wear the uniform, to fight overseas, to fight for this country, to fight in France and things of this nature. And we're not going to deal with the same segregation and Jim Crow and the lynchings and discrimination, racism. We're not going to deal with that. We want all of our rights now. Okay. So it was a new, these were called the new Negro. It was a new sense of pride. And they were also called race men. Okay. So and this is at the beginning of the Great Migration, which was 1915 to 1970, the Great Migration, where you had 6 million African Americans migrating from the South up north and out west. And they're moving up north, going to work in factories, steel mills, things of this nature, and making more money, generally speaking, than they were making when they were on the cotton fields and on plantations in the South. So the teachings from Dr. Carter G. Woodson, okay, but also from Marcus Garvey and the Universal Negro Improvement Association, because Garvey is in the U.S. at this time setting up chapters of the UNIA. Okay, it's not until 1923 that he gets convicted. So he's Garvey is still in the U.S. at this time. He's setting up chapters of the UNIA, Universal Negro Improvement Association. And then you also have Dr. Carter G. Woodson as well, with the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. And they're writing articles and publishing books and things of this nature. So a lot of this information, a lot of this new sense of pride and culture, et cetera, resonates with African Americans migrating up north. All right, now let's continue here. Okay, so now there have been national themes, annual themes for African American History Month, going back to 1928. Okay, this year's annual theme was Black Resistance. Black Resistance. Okay, and I'm going to pull this information up here from a scholar. So how y'all like this type of information? Give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a like on this broadcast. Also visit our website, TheAHNShow.com, TheAHNShow.com, because we have a lot of free content. We have online lectures that I've done, and then also we have online history courses that I teach, 12-week online history courses that I teach also. Okay, so this year's annual theme was dealing with Black Resistance. 2023 Black History Theme Executive Summary. This is from a solid Association for the Study of American Life and History that Dr. Carter G. Woodson co-authors. Dr. Woodson, and it goes and talks about movements that Africans have been involved in and have had. What do you talk about? Rights movement in 1950s, 60s, and 70s, and sit-ins and boycotts, things of this nature. Whether we talk about armed resistance like the Haitian Revolution, or there was even armed resistance in the civil rights movement. If you read Professor Charles E. Cobb's book, This Nonviolent Stuff That Gets You Killed, How Guns Made the Civil Rights Movement Possible. It's going to say, in an effort to live and maintain and protect economic success, Black people have organized, planned violent insurrections against those who enslaved them, such as in Haiti, the Haitian Revolution, 1791-1803, and armed themselves against murderous white mobs, as in Memphis, Tennessee, 1892. That's the Ma Store murders. Actually, March 2nd was the anniversary of the Ma Store murders, 1892 in Memphis, Tennessee. That's how Ida B. Wells got into the anti-lynching movement when her friends were killed in Memphis, Tennessee. Tom Moss and his friends. He was a grocery store owner, black grocery store owner. Rosewood, Florida. January 5th was the anniversary of the beginning of the Rosewood massacre in 1923 in Rosewood, Florida. Okay, so Rosewood, Florida, and New Orleans, Louisiana, 1900. That's the Robert Charles riots of New Orleans in 1900. Okay, which was a race riot. And his brother Robert Charles, he ended up shooting about 27 white people, killed like one or two white police officers, including the white police chief. He shot something like 7 police officers, killed at least 2 of them. Additionally, some black people thought that the best way to resist was to self-segregate, self-liberate, as seen by the actions of those who left the system of Henry Adams and Benjamin Pap Singleton when they led a mass exodus westward in 1879, and Bishop McNeil Turner of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, who organized immigration to Liberia. Okay, so they go through and talk about through our history different resistance movements. Whether it's the Black Panther Party for self-defense, whether it's the Black Liberation Movement, with Black Power Movement, was the Civil Rights Movement, Black Arts Movement, Harlem Renaissance, African American athletes, all different types of things of this nature, African American entertainers. So check this out at asala.org. This deals with, they talk about hip hop music as well. This deals with the 2023 annual theme for African American History Month, which is Black Resistance. Okay, and that's at asala.org, asalh.org, asala.org, which is the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, which is the governing body of Negro History Week. Okay. So check that out. So once again, February was never designed to be the only time of the year that we study our history or anything like that. That's just nonsense. And also, you have some people who complain and say, why we have the shortest month of the year? Well, we already explained why it's in February. But if you just have to have 30 days for this monthly cultural celebration to feel worthwhile to you and feel like it has value, you do realize that you can still continue to celebrate Black History Month, March 1st and March 2nd, and you don't need white people's permission to do that, right? You do realize you don't have to have anybody's permission to continue to celebrate Black History Month, March 1st and March 2nd, if you just have to have 30 days. You don't have to pass any congressional legislation. You don't have to get permission from white people or anything like that to do that. I just want people to understand that. It's not illegal to continue to celebrate March 1st and March 2nd. Nobody's going to take away your black card. We just say some of the dumbest ass things. Okay, now, there's been an annual theme for African American History Month going back to 1928, as I said. And in one of these here, let me see, where is it? One of them, we have actually at Asala's website, they show you all the annual themes. And they do the executive summary for the annual theme each year. And what this does is this gives you purpose. The annual theme gives you purpose and direction on how to have your celebration, okay? On how to have your celebration, what to incorporate into your celebration. And you can go through in the annual theme, that executive summary of the annual theme that I showed you. You can go through and create programs for all throughout the year based upon topics that are talked about in the annual theme. All right, now I want to go to there's a part here that I'm on Asala's website. There's a part here that I want to go to, and it deals with the annual themes, because I want to show you something here. Let's pull this up. I think they changed the website around a little bit since I was on it about a week or so ago. But I want to look at annual themes. So if we look at, where is, right here, annual themes. This is what I want. Go here, and it shows exactly the summary that showed you. It goes through and it shows the past themes. And some of these annual themes dealt with the continent of Africa as well, because one of the misconceptions is that we only deal with our history in this country for Black History Month, which is false. And Black History Month evolves into just talking about runaway slaves and things like that. No direction. That's why it's important to know what the annual theme is and to read the executive summary so you understand. So it gives you direction and content. Meaning, it gives you direction and meaningful content. Okay. But if we look at 1928, the annual theme was civilization, a world achievement. Okay. We look at 1929, possibility of putting Negro history in the curriculum. 1933, Ethiopia meets era and truth. Ethiopia meets era and truth. 1935, the Negro achievements in Africa. The Negro achievements in Africa. 1936, African background outlined. African background outlined. 1937, American Negro history from the time of importation from Africa up to the present. We look at 1941, the career of Frederick Douglass. Okay. 1951, Eminent Negroes in World Affairs. We look here at 1966, Freedom from Racial Myths and Stereotypes Through Negro History. 1969, Changing the Afro-American Image Through History. 1970, 15th Amendment and Black America in the Century. 1971, African Civilization and Culture, a Worthy Historical Background. African Civilization and Culture, a Worthy Historical Background. 1972, African Art, Music, Literature, a Valuable Cultural Experience. All right. 1977, Heritage Days, the Black Perspective, the Third Century. 1978, Roots, Achievements and Projections, which was the year after the Roots miniseries debuted on ABC, which debuted in 1977. 1981, Black History, Role Model for Youth. 1982, Afro-American Survival. 1983, Afro-Americans in the United States. Okay, so go through, look at some of these annual themes, and some of them dealt directly with the continent of Africa as well. So we have to learn how to use African American History Month or Black History Month as the powerful tool and the powerful weapon and tool for empowerment that it was created to be. Most of our people haven't studied the history of it, don't know about the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, don't know who Dr. Carter G. Woodson was. Some people confuse Dr. Carter G. Woodson with Dr. George Washington Carver, the Peanut Man. And then we say idiotic things that disrespect Dr. Woodson and disrespect the creation of Black History Month, which we created. Black History Month was not given to us by white people. That's something that we created out of self-determination. and understanding how a people's history and culture teaches them how to deal with the problems of the past in the present and the future to meet the needs of the community. So if you like this type of information, follow us here, the African History Network on Facebook. I'm Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecturer, writer, and historian. Follow me on my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. Visit our website, TheAHNShow.com, TheAHNShow.com, because I teach on online history classes, and we have classes on the weekend. I teach a 12-week online history course called Ancient Kemet, the Moors and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Okay, so we have classes Saturdays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And these are 12-week online classes. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. We have some free content. We have some paid content. I did each Saturday in February, I did free online Black History Month lectures. They're still archived. You can go register for those. We have them here on the homepage of our website, TheAfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register and watch those. They're on demand. And we dealt with this year's theme, Black resistance and Black resistance movements. And I dealt with the fight for freedom from 1630 BC in antiquity to 2023 Common Era, attacks on voting rights and teaching African American history. Okay. Then Sundays I teach Black resistance movements from the Haitian Revolution, the Civil War, the Civil Rights Movement, and Black Power, 1800 to 1968. We do that on Sundays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can register for that one as well. And even after the 12-week online course is over with, you still have access to the full course. You can go watch it anytime. This information is PG-13, I would say. You can use it with your children. Okay. This is PG-13. Listen to the African History Network show Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. We have our PayPal Cash App information there as well. So we have thousands of shows archived and thousands of videos at our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, as well. Okay, now lastly, I write articles also, and I wrote an article dealing with Black History Month a few years ago, and I updated each year. So I updated it for February 2023, and I did that February 17th, and it incorporated this year's annual theme as well. Okay, Black history, Black resistance. But one thing I talk about in this article, and this article is at our website, TheAfricanHistoryNetwork.com. It's at the bottom of the website, and I'll move it higher up. One of the things I talked about is that other ethnic groups have their own monthly cultural celebrations, okay? And all of their monthly cultural celebrations are either started in 1976 or after 1976. 1976 is when Black History Month became, when Negro History Week became Black History Month. That's 1976. So Jewish American History Month is in May. Okay, Jewish American History Month is in May. It started in 2006. So in the article, I referenced the interview that Mike Wallace did in 2006 with Morgan Freeman, when Morgan Freeman made some more uninformed comments, just like Draymond Green. And Morgan Freeman said, I don't want a Black History Month. And neither one of them, Draymond Green nor Morgan Freeman, mentioned Dr. Carter G. Woodson and the origins of Black History Month and Negro History Week. Okay. Morgan Freeman said, you're going to relegate my history to a month. That's not what Black History Month does. That's a monthly cultural celebration. When you have the celebration of Jewish culture and Jewish history, Jewish American History Month, does that relegate the history of Jews to the month of May? When you look at National Hispanic History Month, which is September 15th through October 15th. Does that relegate the history of Hispanics to 1 month? No. Irish American History Month is in March, basically because of St. Patrick's Day. We all know St. Patrick was a mass murderer who killed thousands of Druids in Ireland. He was sent into Ireland in 432 Common Era by Pope Celestine I to convert the Irish to Christianity. And he killed thousands of Druids to do it. And the Druids were dealing with a watered down version of the teachings coming out of ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, and the Nile Valley region of Africa. Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month is in May. Does that relegate the history of Asian Americans to 1 month? Haitian Heritage Month is in May. Native American History Month is in November. Hispanic Heritage Month, September 15th through October 15th. So Hispanics have National Hispanic History Month, but also Hispanic Heritage Month as well. Now, German American and Polish American Heritage Month is in October. And when you go study these, when you study these multicultural celebrations, I'll say it here, you will see that they were all started either in or after 1976. 1976 is when Negro History Week became Black History Month, okay, or Black History Week becomes Black History Month, and it's celebrated for a full month. And in 1976, President Gerald Ford did a proclamation recognizing February as Black History Month. Now, some of us had already been celebrating it for a month, like in Virginia, okay, where Dr. Carter G. Woodson was born. They had already started celebrating it for a month, like going back to the 1960s. So we need to study some real history. Stop disrespecting our ancestors. Stop disrespecting people like Dr. Carter G. Woodson. And celebrate and study the accomplishments and achievements year round. Black History Month is a monthly cultural celebration, but it's never designed to be the only time of the year that we study our history. Also, if you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. That helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting, pay some of the bills, etc. Listen to the African History Network show Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. We broadcast here on our social media platforms as well. Watch me on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Fridays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Black Star Media Network, as I was on Roland Show today. And watch me on Faraji Muhammad Show on Mondays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Black Star Media Network as well. You can download the Black Star app to your smartphone, okay, and Roku devices and things of this nature, and watch on Amazon also, okay, Amazon TV. All right, look, we have to get out of here. Remember, the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you.